this stuff, all the years that we've been doing real estate, I said, this is something that, I mean, they had things that we learned, just in those few hours. So then there was, of course, the pitch, you get the free 2-hour deal, and then they want you to come back for the weekend deal, and that was, I don't know, $100 or something. It was very inexpensive. And I thought, if we learn that much in a couple of hours, what are we going to learn in 3 days? So we signed up for it. In fact, I called Lee, because we were pretty good friends, told him that he and his wife needed to come and listen to this because I knew he wanted to get into real estate. And so they came and listened as well. We got, it was one of those you get 2-for-1 deals, so it was the same, my husband and I were able to come, and for another $100, Lee and his wife could come. And then, of course, they got the bigger pitch, where you buy in for a lot of money. And again, we thought, we had learned a lot over that weekend, and so we did. Lee did not buy in, but we did. And so this Fortune Builders, there's a lot of these different companies. This just happens to be one that we're involved in. And they have these seminars that you go to, then once you've bought in, and you can, go and they teach you how to rehab, they teach you how to invest. So through this company, we started an IRA. We had money in an IRA that we built up over the years, but we put it into a self-directed IRA where we could lend money. You could actually buy a house, but it's a little more difficult to buy a house within an IRA because you have to be completely hands-off. So anything, if you need extra money for something, you get into rehab, and you know how they are sometimes. It takes, you find termites or you find something, it takes more money. You can't just put more money in. It's got to be money that's within the IRA that you use. And so what we decided we were going to do was lend money because, you don't have that extra money needed, requirement. So we were involved in a group in San Antonio they were all Fortune Builders, and got to know some of them pretty well, knew who was selling, who was doing a good job on the rehabs that they did, and so we knew people that we might be interested in. And I honestly don't remember how I got hooked up with the guy that I mostly led to from the beginning. If I approached him or he approached me, or it was just a mutual thing. But that's what we've been doing since about 2014, I think. We did a recap of our own, most of the things that we'd owned up until this time, we really hadn't thought of doing a flip, like you see on TV. What we had done was we bought things either for ourselves to live in, or we had bought things that we had planned to have as long-term rentals. Some of them didn't turn out to be long-term rentals because people came out and said, hey, we want to buy this, and if the money's right, you sell. You don't turn to look a gift horse in the mouth. So at this point, we were going to Germany and didn't want to do another flip. I'm sorry to tell you about the flip. We did a flip in San Antonio, learned lots of hard lessons, because when you do your first flip, it's just like on TV, you run into all those things, and we had 3 or 4 contracts before it finally sold, because Texas, as you all know, has that wonderful clause where you can get out of something and all you lose is a measly $100. That is the worst place to sell real estate in the world is Texas. Most other places you have to put up a deposit of, a couple thousand or 10% or whatever it is that you're doing, and that's the money you lose. Not $100. Anybody can walk away from $100. It's a little harder to walk away from 1,000 or 2. But anyways, so we sold that, and because we were going overseas again, didn't want to be involved in flipping because even though they tell you that you shouldn't be doing the flipping yourself, you should hire people to do it, it's still kind of hard to manage it from a long distance. And I know people that do it, they swear by it, it just wasn't in our DNA to feel comfortable doing that. So we had loaned money to this guy, and we just started, as he comes back, we invest in him. Sometimes we take some of the money and do something else with it, but we had just built over and over, and now we've built up a pretty good portfolio different loans to different companies. And what we look for is basically we make them do, get appraisals on the property that they've got, and then look at the stuff that's sold in the area and see, what that's looking like, and then what are they needing to borrow in order to buy the property and do the rehab, because all the things that we've loaned on have been full immersion. I mean, they didn't have the money to buy the place, they didn't have the money to do rehab, so we've done that. And see if there's a big enough gap for them to make money and for me to make money. If they're not going to be in business very long if they're giving all their profits to the lender. We have charged in the past 14%, and then usually most people, after they are comfortable with us and we're comfortable with them, we drop it down to 12%. We've not loaned to anybody at less than that. And so that's kind of the long and the short of it. A couple things that I want to say is the main thing when you're doing anything in the real estate world is flexibility. Thinking outside the box. If you haven't had at least one disaster, you're probably not investing, because it just, you're not going to hit a ballpark every time. I can tell you some of our sad sob stories where we've repossessed places twice. We have done our own mortgage. We've had places where we've either owned it outright or we've covered the mortgage and had other people pay us. And we've had to repossess twice, and that's not a fun thing. But if you think a little bit outside the box, you can still make even those work. And so I don't know what else to really say. And I'm open to just skim the surface if you want to know any more details on, the particular loans or the particular properties, or, open for questions.
Any questions?
What's the typical amount of doors that they loan on? Is it single family or?
Okay, now I'm not able to hear that person, so you're going to have to repeat it.
Speak up loud.
What is the deals that you do now? Do you typically do single family stuff, or do you prefer multifamily? And so how many units?
Yeah, all of ours have been single family, either home or condos. We've had a couple of duplexes, but I would call those single families as well.
Are you looking for deals in Midland, Odessa?
No, and if I were, I would probably lend to Lee, since I know him. And that's the thing. I have loaned to. My very first loan was for $5,000 to somebody that I didn't know. I felt comfortable because to me $5,000 wasn't that much money. I thought if it blows up in my face, yeah, I've lost $5,000, but I haven't lost $100,000. And that was just to kind of learn the process. But since then, I have only loaned to people that I'm pretty familiar with.
How can someone that doesn't know someone with a lot of money borrow hard money?
Say again.
Like how can, I don't have her on my network, how can I borrow hard money from someone?
How would you suggest somebody that doesn't know people to find a hard money lender to loan for?
What they say is the money talks. I mean, the numbers talk. So what you have to do is you have to get your portfolio together. So you find your deal and you say, okay, this is what, it's going to cost me. Let's just use round numbers. It's going to cost me $100,000 to buy this property. It's going to cost me $50,000 to rehab it, that stream. So therefore, I need to borrow $150,000. I'm going to be able to sell it because of all the other properties in the area that I'm looking in. I'm going to be able to sell it for $250,000. A lender is going to, look at those numbers and say, yeah, I mean, there's $100,000 in there that they're going to have plenty of money to pay me by 12 if whatever percentage, and still have, money for themselves, and, for the things that are gonna come up unexpectedly, because they do. It might take you longer to sell than you think it's gonna, this thing where they have a couple of open houses on TV and then they sell it, the open houses. It doesn't happen that way, things sit on the market sometimes, for several months, and you gotta have to be able to have the carrying costs, pay that percentage to your hard money lender. So if you don't know people, you just gotta make sure that your numbers do the talking. Take pictures, make sure you have good, aftermarket value, appraisal, so that you don't wanna go out too far outside the area that you're buying in to get, comp. You wanna make sure that it's in that area so that your lender's gonna feel comfortable that, yeah, this person's not just trying to pull in high numbers from somewhere, they're really doing an honest, job of putting this pack together. And then you get a little folder, with all this information in it.
Do you ever inspect your projects?
I didn't hear it.
Do you ever inspect your projects?
Do I ever inspect the project?
Yes.
Okay, you're leaning.
Yeah. Yeah, I have, but only because I know the people and I'm interested in what they're doing. I've got a place I've made some loans in New York that I've never, ever looked at. I don't have any idea about them. But the ones in San Antonio, I tried it because I know that guy really well, the main guy that I loaned to there. And I like his work, so it's fun to walk through. He's part of the real estate investing group that I'm in there, so when I go back to town, I look, and when I was living there, I would always check on his progress and just see what he was doing. But it was more because I was interested in it, not as a banker, looking out for my money, just looking to see, what he has done because I like his work and, like to see the progress.
So I know that, so a lot of the hard money lenders that I've talked to, like they can usually close pretty quickly. One of the things that I've noticed that can take a little bit longer, that can set the timeline back, is the inspections of the property. Is that something that all hard money lenders will do? They'll want you to get the property inspected and actually send somebody out there? Because the problem we had with the property that we have is that this area is really hot right now, and so they're running like a week or 2 weeks behind. Have you, or do you know other, lenders who have had that problem, or do you have that problem in other areas?
Okay, I'm not sure that I heard all of the question, Lee. Can you repeat that closer to the phone?
Basically, he's just wanting to know, the inspectors, do you have trouble having somebody inspect the house that you're lending on?
No, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever even required an inspection.
I'm sorry, I meant to say.
But again, part of that is the fact that I know the people that I'm lending to.
What about an appraiser?
Yeah, I mean, to get the loan, that's part of the process when you go through your title company or whatever, and they will normally do some kind of an appraisal. But again, I look at the packet that my builder has given me. What I look for very closely is the comp. What stuff in the neighborhood is selling for. Same, 2 or 3 bedrooms, whatever the size is and everything. And, the people that I mostly deal with, they do some pretty significant structural rechanges. So they'll have a 2-bedroom place and they'll make it a 3-bedroom, they'll do that upgrade kind of thing. In addition to, of course, the nice flooring and the nice countertops and all of that. So I look at what's in the neighborhood now that's selling. I don't want what it's for sale for. I want what's actually sold within the last year or so. And, if those comps are significant, enough for me to figure that he's going to be able to get the price that he thinks he's gonna get, then I'm willing to lend.
Question, how is your funding structure? Do you give all the funds upfront 100%, or do you have holding points that you disperse at some certain stage? Or how do you disperse your funds?
How do you disperse the funds?
Oh, that depends. I've got the company that I use for my IRA, the money, I have to touch the money, so it all has to go through the IRA company. And so I send them a form, says, send this much money to this title company for this property, and they send it, and then when the loan gets paid off, the same thing, I tell them that this is the amount of money that should be coming back in. The borrower, gets the title company to send the money to them. The things that I've loaned outside of my IRA, which because my IRA isn't as big as I'd like it to be, I've had to do more outside my IRA than I have inside. I just do a wire transfer from my bank to the title company. Title company sends the information for, the wire transfer. They've got all those doc numbers, the routing number and all that kind of stuff. And my bank, I just send it straight to them. And same thing when it comes back, I send them the wiring information for my bank in order to get it to my bank account. And that's the way it goes.
Okay, let me
Is
let me
it
just
usually a lump sum?
Yes, that's what I wanted to rephrase.
Yes, I've let lump sums on off mine. I know that I've heard that some lenders will do, so much at the start and then, a little further on. But again, mine is based on relationship, and I know the people that I'm lending to, and therefore I'm willing to give it all up front. Now, as you're looking for lenders to back you, that might be something that you look for. Say, hey, I need this much to buy the property, whatever it is, and then I'll need this much to get started on the rehab. And so that might be something that if you're having a problem finding a lender, that might entice them to fund you where they might not otherwise.
How fast of a turnaround is she expecting on her money?
How fast of a turnaround are you expecting on your money? How quickly do your projects usually get done?
Oh, good question. My initial lending is for 6 months, and some of them get done in that time, most of them do not. The first one that I lent on, the borrower came back and said, okay, I haven't sold yet, it's up for sale, but it hasn't sold yet, what do we want to do? And so then I hadn't approached that before, I hadn't thought about it, so my husband and I talked it over. If I were to have the money back at the 6-month mark, I could, put that money doing something else. And so what I basically said was, okay, we act as if it had been paid off in full with all the interest, and then we charge interest on that interest. And so anytime that we've done an extension on that's what we end up doing is we compute it at the 6-month mark with the entire principal and interest paid back. And then from that point forward, they're paying the 12% on that new total. But I haven't had anything that's gone over about 9 months except for my ones in New York. And they were having a hard time selling, and so they finally, I had 2 properties up there at the same time, and so what they did was they paid me on one of my loans, and then they still had the second loan, and I said, this has been dragging on because it was over a year. And I said, it's dragging on too long, we got to do something different. And so what they did was they paid me all of the interest that they owed up until that point. And then now they are making interest payments every month. So that number one, it reminds them that, hey, you're paying 12% on this money every month. It's maybe something that you want to do something different with. And then it also doesn't get me deeper and deeper and deeper in the hole. All I've got out at this time is the initial amount of money that I lent, and I'm getting my interest every month.
Has she ever had defaults?
What's that?
Has she ever had a default?
Have you ever had a default?
No, not on a loan, yeah. And the thing is I hold the mortgage, you know, I've got title to the property, so if somebody defaults, I take over the property, and because we have been in the business, that wouldn't, you know, break my heart, you know, okay, I'm gonna own a piece of property in San Antonio, even the one in New York, you know, he's paid me all this time, you know, if I end up having to take it over and sell it myself, so be it.
So she does everything non-recourse? Does everything
Do you do everything non-recourse?
I don't actually know.
It's not.
I don't actually know.
That means that recourse means that the person that's borrowing the money is personally liable for the money. Or is the property the only thing that's liable? Any other
I'd have to
questions?
look at I'd have to look at my documents. What we did was, we took our first one we sent over to a lawyer who was also a member of Portugal, so he understood the concept in both sides of the house. And so, but he was a lawyer, and so I had him draw up the papers that protected me, you know, because I was paying him, he was my lawyer. And then I just basically used this same contract over and over and over with all the loans that went after that. But I don't, it's been a while since I've read that contract, and I don't know if they are personally responsible or not.
Do you fund for new build?
Do I fund for what?
New deals.
New build.
Builds.
Oh, new deals.
Oh, new build. I haven't yet. I had one, that they were doing, they bought a piece of property and basically it was one property, but it could be subdivided. And so they were doing the rehab on the front piece, and they were doing a new build on the back piece. At the time, I didn't have the money to fund both of them, so I funded the rehab and not the new build. So no, I have not done any new build.
Has she been on a project where there's multiple lenders?
What's that?
Has she been on a project where there's multiple lenders?
Have you been on a property with multiple lenders?
No, no, I've had that. Number one, this is a point, if you're looking to get into the lending business, is I only take first mortgages. I am not interested in having a second mortgage. I've done that in my personal, portfolio over the years, and it ends up, always being a headache. And you have, of course, much more possibility of your money. So I am only interested in taking a first mortgage. And basically, I look at things that I can afford. You know, if I have $100,000, then I'm only going to do a deal that's $100,000 or less. You know, if they need $150,000, and you know, and they've got somebody that's willing to take a second, I would be okay with doing the first 100 and having somebody else doing the second 50, because I know I'm protected because I've got the first.
What was your question?
What does she mean by first mortgage? There's multiple mortgages on one.
When you get a loan on a house, the first mortgage would be the one that loans you the money the first. And then like if you get,
Okay.
sorry.
Multiple.
So it has
First thing on
first
the title.
lien on the
Okay.
title.
If you get foreclosed upon and you get their money first,
Right.
or the second or the third.
And that's why she wants to be first mortgage, because she wants her money back first.
So usually that'll discourage from a second, you know, lender or third lender or so on, because they're not getting the first place.
I'm sure your dad could give you a second mortgage if he had the money, right? Seriously. Probably, because she's not really lending on the house, she's lending on you.
Right.
She lends on the person and the house.
Gotcha.
She knows the people she's lending to, plus she knows that she's still got the property.
When she
Yeah,
was,
trust but verify, you know? I know them, but I don't know them that well.
when she was looking for projects, did she approach people and tell them that she had money for lending, or did people contact her?
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't. I heard parts of it.
Do you approach people for lending on property, or do people approach you?
No, they approach me. Normally what it is when somebody, is gonna pay one off, they tell me if they've got something else in the mill. And then the people that I lend to are doing quite a few, numbers per year, so they've got multiple properties going. And so they'll send me and they'll say, hey, because they don't know, because I do let other people, and so they'll say, hey, I've got this going on, you know, can you fund it? And sometimes I can and sometimes I can't, you know, it just depends on if I've got one that just paid off, or if I've had money come in from someplace else, or, you know, what the deal is.
So, from my experience, which is very small, you know, but I've seen multiple hard money lenders. It seems like they can kind of set their own criteria, you know, for how much they want to lend. You know, the minimum. You know, I've seen lenders that have like a minimum price that they'll lend on. Some won't be less than 100,000. Some will not less than 75,000. And then the time frame and everything like that. So is that like, you know, I guess, you know, people should kind of look around for a lender, for a hard money lender that fits their deal or what they're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, you know, basically, he who has the gold, right? So, I mean, you know, they got the money, they're gonna make the rules. For you all that are looking for money, you know, there's lots of companies out there that do this kind of lending. They're pretty rigid with what they're looking for. And if you've got any kind of connection with, I know you've got your real estate group there, but I don't know if you have other groups that are in the area that are real estate investing groups. I would recommend that you go to those groups, you know, a couple of them, and because there's probably people out there that have IRA money, and they're looking to invest that IRA money in something, because basically, I mean, I'm making 12% on my money that's tax-free, because, you know, it's in an IRA. You can't beat that. I mean, you know, the stock market, yeah, you can make 12% some years, but you gotta look at, you know, are we gonna go in a downturn and that kind of stuff? I mean, to make 12% year in and year out is just, you know, kind of a fantastic way to see your IRA money grow. And so if you can find somebody like that, and the way to find somebody like that is somebody that's probably already interested in real estate. You're probably not gonna have somebody that just out of the blue thinks, oh, I think I'll just start an IRA and I'm gonna invest in, you know, this person that's doing rehab. So I recommend that you do get involved in your local real estate group, if there's other ones in the area. And then you may know people. You know, you may have, Lee mentioned somebody's father. You know, you may have fathers, uncles, you know, people that you know. Maybe, I know Lee does lawn care, and you know, there's a lot of rich people in Midland, you know? And so he works for a lot of them, and you know, he may approach them about talking about using their IRA money. And you know, have your elevator pitch ready so that you can talk about your, you know, your project and yourself ready, so that when you get a chance to talk to somebody, that you're able to talk numbers and know what you're talking about, not look like somebody that's just kind of flighty.
Any other questions?
Is there any type of, can you get any type of insurance that will, who covers the insurance while that house is being worked on? Is it the,
Who covers the insurance while the house is being worked on?
if it burns?
The rehabber.
So if it
And that's
burns-
part of the packet that comes to me is showing that they have insurance.
But what if it's not insured for what the amount is that they're loaning, that they borrowed against? Because the value of the house isn't gonna be worth that until it's finished.
Yeah, I didn't hear.
What if the insurance isn't insuring it for what you lent on it because it's not been fixed up yet?
Yeah, that's a risk.
That's part of the game. Can I look upon this?
Yeah.
She's the one that holds the title and the insurance is their name. Is she listed as additionally insured on their insurance?
Of course.
Are you listed as additionally insured on their insurance?
Well, I'm a mortgage holder, so, yeah, just like when you borrow money from a bank, basically, I get the money, they have to pay for it, but I get the money up until, what I loan.
Any more questions? Well, let's give her a hand. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
I want to say one thing, it's something that I opened with in the beginning, and that was flexibility and thinking outside the box. If you try to go for a win-win. I mean, if you're dealing with the hard money lenders that are just companies, it's a little more difficult, but especially if you get somebody that's doing their IRA, that's, just an individual that's doing this, get to where you're both got something that you can work with. You may have to think, differently than have them the whole thing. Now, maybe you do have multiple people lending on it, but just try to be as innovative as you can to make the deal work for everybody.
Thank you very much for doing this for us.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
you.
I hope it was not a waste of your time.
No.
Oh, no, it's good stuff.
Thank you. We're going to disconnect now. Okay, I think I'm disconnected. Give me 1 second.
Just like the
I guess you know.
well, you could deduct it at any time without the penalty. In your
Let me think. Lucero?
Yes.
Stand up. She's our 500th member that joined. It was a couple of months ago. We're up to 500. So I see